Commentator's Corner for that Singapore Grand Prix. If you missed it, go back and watch it on the channel. It was a pretty dramatic race towards the final few laps then. Lambo taking the win and taking the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Two drivers join us for Commentator's Corner, Spike and Z3. Who wants to go first? Do you want me to pick?
I mean, I can go first if...
Go on, Z. Yeah, go on after you, mate.
So, Z3, talk us through that race then. You said in the chat that the tyres started to overheat after only a few laps. Just how did the strategy have to adjust for that one?
Well, I mean, like, quality was good enough, but in the race, I think lap 2 and my tires were already starting to get too hot. And lap 3, my tires were getting orange and red at some point, so I was really struggling through the left-hand corners. And I think it was lap 4 that I got my first front wing damage. And then I knew that I couldn't pit already, so I stayed out, struggling through every corner. Then I pitted over to the softs, and well, I hoped they would be better, but I think after 5 laps time they were overheated too, and I tried to cool my tires down at some points, but they just overheated straight away again, and then I hit the wall struggling again and pitted over to the ultras with 10 laps to go or something, and 2 laps and they started overheating, so the whole race was just trying to pull through with overheating tires.
Yeah, you finished in 10th place. You got a point at least. Tell us how you're going to prepare for Russia then. It's a completely different circuit to Singapore at least.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm actually happy with pits, and because of the overheated tires. If it was a different type of race, I wouldn't actually be happy. But considering I had to manage that, so I'm happy. And for Russia, I don't know. I was supposed to like Singapore more, so I'm gonna hope for a top 10 finish.
Yeah, good stuff.
I'm gonna be ballsy. Gonna hope for a top 5.
Yeah, and Russia seems to be a track that favours that sort of high downforce, but also rewards those who run a lower downforce, of course, with the DRS straights that it has. It makes it a unique challenge, Russia. Are you looking forward to it?
Definitely. I'm usually one of the guys running lower downforce around there, so straight can be fun, but with the low downforce, if you get the corners right, you don't lose much time, but it gets so much more tricky to get them like spot on.
Yeah, and Spike himself was saying that the Singapore Grand Prix, you don't really know what position you're in until you pit in. Was that the case, Z3? Just so much concentration?
I knew exactly where I were actually. I wouldn't say the same as Spike. I knew where I were at all time, and I knew who I were fighting, even if people around me had pitted. So I actually managed to keep that in mind too.
Absolutely. And so you said top 10 for Russia, but let's have a scale of 1 to 10. How much are you looking forward to Russia?
Well, it's not the best track for me, I know that, but I don't mind it. So let's say a 7.
A 7. So pretty keen then to move on to the Russian Grand Prix. And obviously you can catch that live on Thursday right here and with me. So I'm looking forward to the Russian Grand Prix as well, heading to the Black Sea. Any final words from you, Z3?
great stream.
Oh, it's all right. I'll send you money
No,
later
I
for that
always
one.
have it on in the background.
Yeah, your money's in the PayPal, isn't it? For saying that compliment. Anyway, well, thank you for joining us, E3. Good result for P10.
Thank you for having me.
Looking forward to seeing you in Russia.
Yeah.
So, Spike joins us in Commentator's Corner. Spike spun it across the line there.
Yeah. That was the only bit of fun I had for the entire race.
well, P4, obviously with Lambo winning, he takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship. You needed third to jump Poe in the standings. So obviously you'll be third, but a lot closer to Poe than you were before. At least that's one positive.
It's the only positive.
Well then, talk us through that Singapore Grand Prix for you then. Z3 was talking about overheating tyres. Did you have a similar problem?
Well, I'm on a pad, so yes. Did the ultra softs. The quality lap was reasonable. I realised it said I was second, and then I was going to go for a second push lap, but then I checked who was behind, and it was Siege, and it was 3/10, and I noticed he was on the ultras as well. So I figured, he probably won't go for another lap. So I decided not to go for another lap. Happy with second, and obviously Jay did the Hypersoft. Fair play, because they lost about 3 corners, I think, before they give up. I don't know if he's on a wheel or not, I have no idea. Anyway, so I was following him in the first few laps. By the time he spun off, my right front tyre was already overheating. And then as soon as that happens, you could see what happened to me. I was all the time I had the tyres in the window. I was on the pace. As soon as they went overheated, look at the gap to the winner. What was it, 40 seconds in the end? Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So I mean, the virtual safety car came out. I saw Steph in the wall. Poor Steph. I guess he didn't want to stop 9 times, so he figured he'd crash. Anyway, so I thought I'll pit, get a cheap pit stop basically. Obviously it did go green while I was in the pit lane, but I still gained that time, trundling down the pit lane. And then I managed to keep the soft tyres almost in the temperature range. They did overheat, but just about enough so that I could, keep the pace. And then, as you can see, because Lambo pitted and then he came up behind me, so that worked. But then, as soon as I had to even remotely try and push to keep him behind, they just skyrocketed. And when I was battling him, I did my best, but I had no defense. You could see passing around the outside. I mean, that's just like, okay. So that happened. And I was just dead. It was just understeering like a cross-channel ferry for the rest of the stint. And I knew I had penalties because I kept running wide, going over the curbs and stuff. And the Siege was catching me. Just because my tyres weren't into it. It was nothing to do with wear. It's not a wear problem because the tyres are on 40%, I think, when I pitted for the ultras. It was about 7 laps to go, so there's no problem with wear. It's just a case of as soon as they get out of the temperature range, they're no good to you. So he was catching me well over a second of a lap, and obviously he got within 12 seconds or 9 seconds, or it was. So I thought, sod it, I'll pop a pit in and get a fresh set of ultras. At least have. So I think it was 4 laps of fun before they overheated. So at least I had 4 laps of fun trying to go quickly. The fastest lap, obviously. But yeah, it wasn't much fun, to be fair.
Well, yeah, you were saying it wasn't a lot of fun, and well, you spun across the line there. Wheel came off just after the start-finish line, so that could have ended a lot worse for you. But will you move on with P4? Oh, okay. Yeah, he says.
I did. I was trying to. Do you know what I was trying to do? I was trying to do a lovely slide, but I just literally tried, and it just understeered, and I hit the marbles, and then it spun, and then I thought my rear wheel came off after plaster hit me. I think, didn't it? Because I hit the wall and it was fine, and then afterwards it fell off. I think because plaster ran into me. But yeah. So sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. I was just going to ask you about it, but yeah, I was going to say the Gort there came back as a reserve driver and just seemed to have phenomenal pace at
wheel user.
At Singapore.
Wheel user.
Wheel user.
Sorry, it's 'cause he's a wheel user. The court's quick anyway. I'll definitely give him his due. He's a quick driver, but he's not 40 seconds quicker than me. He's not even remotely. As soon as he came up behind me, as soon as he caught me, it's just because I have nothing. I've got nothing to defend with, so I had to just let him go, which is really frustrating. I mean, I don't mind the wheel users having a slight advantage. That's fine because it's a racing game after all. So in theory, it should be better on a wheel, but the difference is just too high. You just can't. Whatever you do, you're just driving around like you're going to work or something. You're literally driving so slowly to try and keep the tyres alive, and it's nigh on impossible. So unfortunately, but it's not every track. It's just it's here, some at Singapore, and to Monaco as well. Monaco again, it's 5 laps and it's game over. So I don't know if Cody's are going to even bother patching that. I don't know. Probably not, because obviously all the esports stuff is done on all wheels, so it's alright for all those people. Anyway, never mind. So I mean, I'll take P4 first of the pad users. So I'm quite happy with that. It was just disappointing I couldn't even give Lambo a race. If I'd had, because there was nothing. Like I said, no problem with wears. Lambo would have had a slight advantage. He had fresher tyres. But yeah, I just had nothing. As soon as he got past me, he was 5 seconds up the road, 2 laps. So it's crazy.
Well, I think that's enough talking about the Singapore Grand Prix. For Russia, then, does it favour the wheel user again? Then
I'm not sure. The only 2 I'm sure of is Monaco and Singapore. I don't know for Russia. I don't like Russia. It's a rubbish track, to be honest. It's whoever designed that track's to be shot, to be honest. But never mind. Hopefully we have a chance. And like I said, it's not my strongest track, so we'll see where I get to. We'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking for anything to be better than tonight.
Well, we're getting into the sort of crunch point of the season now. It's 6 races to go in the season. Are you confident? Can you win the championship?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a tough task. Yeah, we'll see. All the tracks that the tyres stay in a reasonable temperature, then I've got a chance. But we'll see. I did have a better night than Poe though, because he fell asleep before the race and missed the race. So there you go.
Yeah, imagine losing a championship lead
because you fell asleep.
Because you fell asleep. Oh well, just adds a little bit of excitement for the Russian Grand Prix. Hopefully, Poe, set your alarm next time, Poe. Come on now. Wouldn't that just pay dividends if Lambo were to win by however many points he outscored him today? That would just be a kick in the teeth.
25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
hopefully everyone will be there, and yeah, hopefully it'll be a good one, and hopefully us pad users have a hope in hell of winning, or at least having a chance of fighting for the win.
Great stuff. Well,
I think
thanks
Russia is better for pad users than Singapore or Spike.
Excellent. That's good news. Thank you, Z3.
Well,
Rejoice.
Yeah, rejoice. Spike's happy then. Well, thank you for talking to us, Spike, and we shall see you at the Russian Grand Prix on Thursday.
Will do. Yeah, hopefully so, and hopefully I'll have a bit more to give, and perhaps maybe not moaning so much as well. But I think tonight was justified.
No worries. Well, thank you again, Spike, for speaking to us. We'll see you at
You're welcome.
Russia.
Great stream as always, mate.
Thank you very much. That payment's in PayPal for you for that one. Anyway, the the next race then is the Russian Grand Prix. If you haven't figured that out already, streaming live on Thursday at around about 5 to 8, and hopefully Poe will join us then. Hopefully he'll set enough alarms. But Lambo takes the lead of the championship with 6 rounds to go. It's crunch time for all of the drivers in the top 4. Still, all of them in with a shout of getting that TTL F1 title. You can join us for the next round and the next chapter on Thursday. Until then, though, I've been Kieran McGinley. You've been watching. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.